Robots Radio presents
Fresh Tomatoes, the movie podcast.
Hey, I can look at myself naked.
Are you stoned or something?
They tried stoning me, my dear. It did not work.
He likes to create his own sauce.
Well, did you sleep with a man who also slept with Mom and Grandma Catherine?
What? You slept with Dad?
All right. Which one of you sardines called this meat?
Whatever, Major Loser.
Let the party begin!
2, 4, 6, 8. What's the podcast we appreciate? 1, 2. No, that's the wrong way. 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3. This is the podcast where we talk about bad movies. That's Simone LaRue.
That's Chad Ekowitz, showing that his true calling all along was cheer.
Can I be honest with you, Simone? I was the cheer captain of my high school.
That is so on brand for you. I'm actually not even surprised.
Right? Like, I mean, it was perfect. And so this week really does speak to me. But for those of you who have never listened to this podcast before, this is Fresh Tomatoes, the movie podcast, where we take 2 bad movies every week and we say nice things about them because the world is a dark place and we just want to make it a little bit brighter. And this week, we are so on brand. This is the optimistic of all optimistic weeks. What are we doing this week, Simone?
If people haven't guessed it already, with your wonderful intro, we are doing cheer movies. One of my favorite genres of movie.
I mean, it's really surprising. 35 episodes in, and only now are we doing cheerleading movies. Unbelievable times. Very, very surprising. So this week I will be doing Bring It On, All or Nothing, the trilogy completing. I have no idea what number this is. It's sort of like Fast and Furious. They just kind of
Is it the second or the third one?
Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very strange. And what movie are you doing, Simone?
I will be doing the misleadingly titled But I'm a Cheerleader, which actually has very little to do with cheerleading and shows we should vet the movies we do a little better.
It's, again, so very on brand for us because we did very little research into it. It just had the word cheerleader in the title.
Yeah, and we were like,
it was going to be a cheerleader movie. Yeah, perfect.
I have watched a lot of the series Cheer in preparation for this, though. It is outstanding. It's so good.
It's unbelievable, right? Like, we need to protect Jerry from all harm. I think we need to link, I don't know if you've seen it yet, but there's a video of Jerry welcoming people to work and just like being Jerry to people as they go into their work, and it's perfect.
Can we get him to our podcast intro?
Yeah, how good would that be? Just him screaming.
I'd be so happy.
Perfect. Yeah. So have you finished Cheer yet?
No, I'm on the last episode. Don't tell me.
Okay. No, I won't. But
I care so much about every character. I have cried. I really feel the sports injuries. They are brutal, and they're so hardcore. They're like, oh yeah, my ribs are maybe a little fractured, but like it's fine as long as they don't full fracture before the comp. And you're like, what the fuck?
I just love it because that one bit where it's just like, oh, if you get if you get tossed or get hit really hard again, your ribs will explode. That is a crazy sentence in any meme.
And she's just like, well, cool. I can't take painkillers, so
what am I gonna do? It's outrageous. Oh man, I love that show.
They're like, you need to stop cheering, and she's like, what if I didn't?
What are you gonna do? Oh man, yeah, no, it's so good. And to be fair, Simone, for all of our YouTube watchers, you actually have a bit of a cheerleader vibe going on with your shirt.
Thank you. Yeah, I've got a little halter crop top going at the moment. Completely unintentional. I was just chuffed with my abs today.
Nice, fair enough.
No one can see it, even if you're on YouTube. Like, you cannot see my abs, but my friends did when I met them for lunch.
Well, they're like, damn, your abs look on point.
No one said anything. I have a rib tattoo, so that always calls the attention away.
Yeah. Well, there's only one thing to do, Simone, and that's get better friends.
Or get better abs. I thought that's what you were gonna say.
Oh no! Oh god!
More ripped.
Yeah, I need you. How do I say this? Thinner?
I know we work in a mostly audio medium, but lose some weight, chunky.
Yeah, this ain't Kung Fu Panda.
We're optimistic about other people, not ourselves, okay?
There's never been a fat cheerleader on this podcast.
Oh man, Chad,
Oh
what
my
are you
God.
drinking? A nice
Oh,
skinny, low-fat soy
if the
latte?
liquid is clear, then it's skinny enough. I'm drinking a passion fruit Malibu and 7-Up. Very, very summery.
That is very summery in midwinter in the UK.
That is true. I'm thinking of calling it the white girl because it is quite a white girl drink.
I think you can call it the fruity gal.
The fruity gal. What are you drinking? Well, I think mine comes in at about 13%, give or take. I didn't look at the bottle before I poured it. What are you
I'm
drinking?
drinking a red wine.
On brand.
The ultimate white girl drink, really, if you think about it.
Yeah.
It's the name of the wine is Nymphomane.
Oh, dang.
It is like a red blend, and it comes in at 14%.
14%. That's lovely. Okay, so you beat me by a percent this week.
Close one.
A very close one. It's not the stakes have never been higher, really.
Yeah.
And talking about the stakes never been higher, tell us about But I'm a Cheerleader.
But I'm a Cheerleader from 1999.
Oh, 10 of the century. This is when things got good.
I don't know. Fashion took a very dark turn for like 8 years after this.
Oh, man.
Okay, But I'm a Cheerleader. First of all, on Rotten Tomatoes, this movie is very interesting because it got a 39% score on the tomato meter and then a 74% audience score.
Wow, that's telling, isn't it? I mean, yeah, I mean, we'll discuss it, but damn.
Yeah. So, basically, okay, Megan, played by Natasha Lyonne, is a Christian cheerleader at her high school who has never put a foot wrong. And one day her family calls her in and hosts an intervention. Also, her boyfriend, Jared, is there, played by Brant Willie, and her best friend, Kimberly, played by Michelle Williams. And they all tell her she is a lesbian. They've known it all along, and she needs to go to a, what's it called? A correction camp?
Yeah, I think it's something like homosexual correction camp facility, whatever. Just a pray the gay away.
Conversion camp. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. She disagrees. She does not think she's gay. But when she goes to this camp, which is run by Mary Brown, played by Kathy Moriarty, and she starts going through the first step, which is acknowledging that you're gay, she realizes that actually she does really like girls, and she decides to adhere to the program because as a Christian girl, she doesn't want to be gay. She wants to be quote unquote normal. Inevitably, she ends up falling in love with one of the other people in her program, Graham, played by Clea Duvall. And shenanigans ensue. They go to a gay bar. She makes out with Graham. 2 other dudes are there who get kicked out because they're caught having sex, and that's obviously clearly not allowed. RuPaul is there playing one of the counselors, Mike, who is so very clearly gay and keeps insisting he's not. But yeah, essentially, Graham and Megan eventually get caught. Megan gets kicked out, and Graham decides to stick it out so that she can keep her parents' approval. Megan's parents basically disown her, and she comes back later to try and get Graham out. Graham's like, no, I can't leave. And then Megan does a cute little cheer to show how much she loves Graham, and Graham runs away with her, and presumably they go to live gay, happy lives where they get to be themselves. The end.
It's sweet. It's interesting.
Yeah.
So what's your cliffhanger for this one?
It's definitely going to be this one, which is the cheer that Megan does for Graham. It's so silly.
It's the most outrageous bit of the whole film, and it's
It was either going to be that or the 5, 6, 7, 8, God is good and God is straight, which yeah, the omniscient being is also confined to enjoying one gender.
Yeah, that dude is heteronormative. He only slept with one woman, and that was Mary. So,
Not even. It was an immaculate conception. Okay.
Oh, well, I was talking about the big guy, not Jesus.
Immaculate
Oh, well,
Conception.
oh yeah, fair, fair. But yeah, so okay, look, that scene is so cringe and so wonderful and kind of sets the tone, I guess, for this whole movie. Um, you know, what are your thoughts on this? I'm dying to hear what you thought of this because clearly not a cheerleader movie. Very
No,
obviously not a
it has
cheerleader movie.
nothing to do with cheer. We're very stupid. Basically, the whole thing is that she really enjoys cheer and she really enjoys looking at the cheerleaders in her group and like looking at cheerleaders in magazines, but it turns out it's because she's gay and she thinks that the thoughts she's having while she looks at the cheerleaders are normal and like they are normal, but not for straight people.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about this movie because, like, on one hand, I think it is really important to talk about like conversion camps and like how damaging they are and how stupid they are. Like,
It's
just
dumb.
like a lot of the stuff that they do in the camp where they're like reinforcing gender roles and like asking them to find the root of their homosexuality in their childhood. And they have to say like stupid shit like, "Oh, I was born in France," or
Yeah, that was a
which is my
brilliant
favorite one.
route. Yeah,
Or like
yeah.
my mom worked for a year while my dad looked for a job and I learned weird gender roles. Like this is all shit like actual conversion camps do to the point where they make you date someone else in the conversion camp. So like
Mhm.
you're like two gay people like trying to make attraction to each other happen and it doesn't. And I'm
It's
laughing, but it
oh
really
man.
is horrible and they're really abusive situations and if you're in America, you should see if your senator supports these camps or not and call and vote accordingly.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, I understand why they would think that this would work because they're an incredibly closed-minded group of people.
Sure.
People who run these camps. I'm not saying all Christians. Please
No.
understand that I'm not saying all Christians. I'm saying the specific brand of Christians who believe that gay is a choice, and who believe that these camps will actually work. It's the fact that they think that putting a whole bunch of homosexual people in one place together when they're really like just trying to figure themselves out would be a good idea.
And giving
Like,
them shared trauma to bond them all together.
yeah. And putting them in the same gendered places to sleep where no one's watching them. Of course
hmm
they're gonna hook up. How could you not?
That's sexy. Like you're not allowed to like I know it's horrible. I'm
Yeah,
not trying to make light
we're
of these
not
camps
yeah.
thing. But like you're not allowed to hook up with anyone. You're like trying to deny who you are, but then there's like this pretty girl like making eyes at you and like you're like looking over at each other in bed and you can't touch. That's sexy. Like
It's forbidden
if
fruit.
anything, that's gonna lead people to more sex than just being like, "Hey, you're gay, like maybe work on it." I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's a recipe for disaster, and it's quite funny in that respect. Although, like you say, it is incredibly traumatic to be told that this is not right and you need to go to a
Yes, it's
specific
very
camp.
serious.
Yeah. Loved the fact that RuPaul was in this. How fucking nuts was that?
Fucking Natasha Leone? What the
Oh
fuck?
man, that was what a find this movie was.
Yes,
Like
and Michelle
genuinely,
Williams making like the tiniest appearance.
it's bonkers how many high profile people there are in this film.
Yeah,
And yeah, like that was just super fun. Like I saw like his name come up, like I saw RuPaul's
yeah,
name come up, like nah, it's gotta be a different
yeah.
RuPaul. Nah, it's not the guy. And then I saw him being like one of the straight camp guys, and I was like, that's fucking hilarious. That is unbelievably meta and brilliant.
He's so funny too. He's so
Mhm.
funny.
His scenes with Rock were just excellent. Just
The one
so
where he's
such
repairing the
comedic
car under the hood is just. I think what I like about this movie is that it does kind of lean into highlighting like how ridiculous these camps are, like how ridiculous the ideology is, like how stupid the actual concept of it is. Um,
Mm,
but I also worry that it maybe makes light of what is actually a
mm,
very traumatic and serious situation. There is like a disproportionately large amount of LGBTQ plus youth who are homeless because their parents don't support them and they don't want to go to conversion camp or whatever. Um, it's a very serious issue. It would have been nice if there had been a couple more like very serious moments in this, just to be
yeah,
like,
agreed.
hi, this is real. This is like something that you should vote to not support.
Mm, exactly. Exactly. Especially at that time in 1999, where it's sort of like we're becoming more aware of these things. We're trying to
Yeah.
like fully understand. It would have been pretty cool to actually see them
Yeah.
take it a little bit more seriously.
Especially
But
like
you know,
fresh out of the
it's
AIDS crisis.
oh yeah,
That wasn't
shit.
too far behind. I think that was still pretty fresh in the gay community. Like, I don't
Mhm.
know. I feel like they could have taken like that the whole community a bit more seriously. But at the same
Yeah.
time, I think a lot of the actors were pretty sensitive about it and like trying to
hmm
be funny and also sensitive. And I think it was a tough balancing act.
It was a tough balancing act, and but it was done. It was done pretty decently. I mean, I think they really took the angle of it being a farce more than
Yeah.
look, these things
Yeah.
are crazy, and we need to actually chill out. And realize how bad these places are. It was more of look how ridiculous this all
Yeah.
is. And I mean it was really interesting. I mean the choice of color and
Yeah.
everything just really highlighted that, like the pastel greens and the pastel
It was
pinks were just
very
perfect for that.
Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, right.
I
Yeah, it
hope
was.
that that's what they were going for because that was like
mm,
exactly what it felt like.
yeah, everything's like plastic and manufactured and very cookie cutter, and it was like a perfect
Yeah.
metaphor, and yeah, it was just really really fun. A movie that's recently came out in 2018, The Miseducation of Cameron Post. I couldn't remember the name, so I was just looking it up. It's Chloe Grace Moretz.
Yeah.
Same kind of idea. She's a lesbian, from a Christian family. They send her to a Pray the Gay Away camp, and I think that takes a more serious aspect of it,
Okay.
and like I think she also still falls in love with someone
Mm.
there, but I think they do make it a little bit more like focusing on the abuse and all that kind of thing. And
Yeah.
I think maybe the reason that they didn't do it in this movie is because maybe people weren't ready for the seriousness
Yeah.
that required, if you get
Yeah.
me. Like, to show that trauma may have made
hmm
people sort of back away from it a bit more.
Yeah, maybe they're trying to not scare people away and be like, oh, this is a hard-hitting drama about gay
Mhm.
conversion therapy. It's just like this is a comedy where this girl finds out she's a lesbian and like you should check it out. It's not going to make you feel too many feelings.
Mhm.
And I mean, there were some pretty poignant moments, like when they're actually getting her to like admit that she's gay, and she's like, no, like of course not. I have a boyfriend, and like, of course we haven't had sex because I'm Christian. And the girl's like, well, it's really easy to be pious when you're like not attracted to your boyfriend at all.
Mhm.
And she's like, oh. Doesn't help that
I
her
think that
boyfriend's
was,
like the
yeah,
worst fucking kisser in the world.
so much tongue. That was so gross.
God,
Oh, I would
that
like.
was
I'm
so
I'm really
funny. Those
impressed by
scenes were really
yeah,
funny.
yeah. I'm impressed by Natasha Lyonne for actually like putting up with that, because I would have just been like, huh,
How often
huh,
does she burst out laughing?
uh-huh. This dude's just like eating your face. Yeah, yeah. I thought Graham was a really cool character. I
Yeah,
thought she like called out a lot of bullshit, and she had the trouble, and maybe that's also where the trauma showed, like you were saying about how many gay people are on the streets and stuff because their parents
yeah,
don't want to like let them back into their lives because they're gay, and that's sort of what Graham's going
yeah.
through. And I thought that was a really sort of deep and intense bit of the film.
Yeah. No, definitely. And like the scene where the two of them like I don't want to say it's like a sex scene. I don't think they actually have like sex. I think they
No.
just like get really intimate and like I don't know. It's a lot of close-ups. I don't know what happens, but they're very intimate and maybe it's like some form of intercourse. Um but that scene was like really tender and like really sweet where they're just
Mm,
like figuring out how to like be together and
yeah.
it was so pretty. It was really cute.
It is a really cute movie. So I guess like why do you think this got such a bad critic score but such a good
Yeah.
audience score?
People like I think people's problem with it wasn't like that it was about a gay couple or anything so much as like it could have been done a bit better. Like the
hmm
script could have been tightened up a bit. The storyline could have been made a little bit more tense because like you know exactly what's going to happen pretty much the
hmm
moment she walks into the like therapy session. You're like, "Oh, okay, I see." Um
Yeah.
so it's nothing that happens is really surprising and I don't know, the dialogue could have been tightened up, the camera work could have been tightened up. Like it could have been like
Mm.
a much better made
Slicker
movie.
film.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I feel like this is sort of the start of Natasha Lyonne's sort of career. So she
Yeah.
wasn't 100% great yet. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, I'll talk about this with Hayden Panettiere because Jesus, she could not act. But yeah, like Natasha Lyonne is like clearly just trying to still figure out what she wants to do
Mm.
in terms of acting and stuff, and like who she's gonna be as an actress,
Yeah.
and that shows a bit as well. But yeah, like you said, like this is a great film, and if they remade it, I think it would do really, really well.
Yeah.
But it just needs to be a bit tighter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
definitely. And I do you have a scene that could have saved it? Like, I don't really.
So yeah, I was just saying, maybe make it a bit more farcical, but
Yeah.
not really like a big thing, like really double down on that. But
Yeah.
it was still a really
I kind
good
of like
one.
that they were a little subtle about it. Like, the scene where her parents are like, well, if you don't make it through this camp, like, you can't come home. Like, this is a choice. Like, you're making the choice to isolate yourself. And I like
Mm.
that she doesn't, like, say the obvious thing, which is, you're making the choice to kick me out, actually.
Yeah.
Like, you're making the choice not to love me. Um,
Yeah.
I like that that's kind of left open-ended and for the audience to be like, hey,
Yeah, I think that's the great thing is about pre-2000s movies is they let you make your own thoughts.
yeah,
Now
as opposed to
there's
just
no
really
time for
fucking
subtlety.
preachy dialogue, which
Yeah.
drives me up the wall in a lot of modern stuff. Like, I
Oh
guess
yeah.
I get you have to drive a message home and you're like there to tell people the truth, but like Jesus, when I'm being preached to.
Yeah, it's not the most fun, is it?
Yeah.
It's
You know what
yeah.
made me cringe so goddamn hard was
Uh-huh.
in Daybreakers when that's the zombie one with high
Uh,
school kids.
oh yeah, okay.
When he like is like had sex with his girlfriend for the first time and he's like, "Oh, how many guys have you been with?" And she does like this whole like speech to him in the pool about how she's like so much more than who she and it's like,
Oh,
"Okay, you guys. Like I get what you're doing. You are right, but also like Jesus Christ."
we don't need that. Or maybe we do. Maybe people
It's just
just really
bad
don't.
writing. Like
But it
people
is
are
bad
like, "Oh,
writing.
let's be really woke and like shoehorn this message in."
Yeah, it's lazy. It is really
Yeah.
lazy because I think the point is, as this movie sort of demonstrates, is the fact that like you lead the audience to water
Yeah.
and then they choose to drink themselves. It's not a
Yeah.
case of you force them to drink by just like pouring it down their throat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean subtlety. As
Yeah.
Troy said in Community, there's a time for subtlety, and that was before Scary Movie.
I love that you're still quoting Community. That's so hip and young.
I know, right? I've still got an iPod. I mean, that's the thing.
Even me, though, it's great to run with.
So, would you watch this again?
I wouldn't say no. Like, I'd maybe like have a movie night with my sister and watch it or something, because it's pretty cute. But
Yeah.
like, if I want to watch like a movie with the LGBTQ community in it, like, I don't know if this is necessarily the one I'd go for.
Exactly. I think maybe if you're doing like a history kind of thing, like history of
Yeah.
LGBT communities, and see
Yeah.
sort of how it goes along.
Yeah.
Maybe like this, Brokeback Mountain, just really like oddball movie choices.
Yeah, or like movies that were our sexual awakening, and if my gay friend like picked this movie, I'd be like,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Fair. Do you know what would be actually really, really funny is if you had a child and that child turned out to be gay, and then you put this on to try and show that you would be really supportive of them without actually saying that you support them.
Like the parents are like, "Oh, we don't accept you," and you're like, "I'd never do that."
Yeah. If you decided to come out, which, your call, not making any presumptions, but if you did, this is not what would happen. Don't worry.
Yeah.
And they're just like sitting there cringing,
Like
hoping to
Moment's
die.
so straight.
Yeah. Oh man, but yeah, I guess I feel the same way. Like, I think first of all, it was really difficult to find this movie, which makes it really hard to watch again, I guess.
Yeah.
But if it did come across my paths again, I'd probably definitely watch it. Like, I wouldn't turn away.
Yeah, that's fun.
And yeah, if we were talking about weird influential movies, or you just sat down with RuPaul one day, I'd definitely check us on.
If we were doing like a movie marathon of like my sexual awakening, like what would your movie choice be?
Oh damn. Sexual awakening.
Like some
Yeah.
character that
Yeah.
like you were like, oh, this is what I like.
This is me now. Oh God, that's such a fucking hard question.
I'm
I'm just trying
I'm
to think
like
of like the first one. Um,
I had
maybe
crushes on
Charlie's
every
Angels.
problematic character.
Maybe Charlie's Angels.
Oh yeah, that would do it.
Yeah, I think
They're
that would
like
do it.
confident and badass and
Yeah,
sexy. That's not the
exactly.
worst one.
No, what would you say is yours? Voldemort? Really problematic man?
Not like fascist problematic. Do you know who it was? It was Angel in Buffy.
Of course it was. I can understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, Angel and Spike
Shit.
actually at different stages. Like, I want a problematic man that I can fix.
Oh damn.
To be fair, I
Yeah,
think Buffy was a lot of people's sexual awakening.
that is also true. That is a good point. That is a very, very good point. Actually, to be fair, I want to change mine because if we're talking about these type of things, it would be which is sort of related to Charlie's Angels, and I can see why sort of it when we went to real characters, it would be Charlie's Angels. Do you remember that show Totally Spies?
Yes, I loved Totally Spies.
Oh man, the blonde with the short little pixie cut.
Was that it? You were just
That was
like,
it.
that's the
Okay,
one.
this is what this is who I am. This is what I'm about. And then when when I was like, all right, cartoons aren't real people, then it switched to the Charlie's Angels. You know, strong, kick-ass women in sexy
Cameron
outfits.
Diaz, though, right?
Yeah, Cameron. Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
You know, a little bit clumsy, a little bit crazy. Oh yeah.
Cute.
Yeah.
So basically, I'm buying Sam a red catsuit for for her birthday or for your
Look,
birthday.
I'm not gonna say no. I'm not gonna absolutely condone it, but I'm not gonna absolutely say no. Well, thank you for that, Simone. And
That was fun.
as we've now learned, we will vet movies better next time.
Yes. I apologize to all.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Should I tell you all about Bring It On, All or Nothing?
I hope I watched the fucking right one.
I do
'Cause
too.
I got so confused between that and In It to Win It because they're both Bring It On movies.
They're basically all the same story, so you probably
Yeah,
will be
pretty
able to catch
much.
up pretty quickly. On Rotten Tomatoes, there's got 20% on the Tomatometer and a 70% on the audience score. So very
Cheerleaders are fucking like, I'm pretty sure it's the whole cheerleading community. Like, they're all just like, it's about cheerleading, so I love it.
yeah, just hitting that like button over and
Mhm.
over again. Yeah, yeah, and everyone else is just like, yeah, it was all right, but yeah, yeah.
Well,
That's-
Rudy
that-
didn't
that-
want to watch with me, and then I was like, you know, Hayden Panettiere is in it, and he was like, maybe I'll just like stay for a scene.
Yeah, look, she is unbelievably good looking.
She's so beautiful, and like, who didn't watch Heroes and have like a little crush on her?
Oh damn, seriously, like that was genuinely problematic as well. She's so gorgeous, but yeah, cannot act in this one whatsoever.
No.
No. Okay. So here we go. Brittany, played by Hayden Panettiere, is your typical popular girl. She's the captain of the cheerleading squad, and she's dating the star quarterback of their school football team. What's even cooler, though, is that the pop sensation Rihanna is throwing a competition. All participating cheerleading squads will compete for a prize of being in Rihanna's next music video, and obviously Brittany's team is totally going to win it because they are the best cheerleading squad in all of Los Angeles. But even with her perfect life, she has problems. Her boyfriend, Brad, played by Jake McDorman, is pressuring her into having sex with him. She's a virgin and wants to make it special, but as the star quarterback, Brad expects some action. Brittany agrees that if Brad can show his loyalty by the homecoming dance, then she'll have sex with him. In terms of the cheer squad, Brittany has a teammate who is a complete pain in the ass. Winnie, played by Emmy Rylan, continuously undermines Brittany and forces her into tough situations, like telling one of their fellow teammates that she is too fat and will be kicked off the team if she doesn't lose some weight. One day, Brittany comes home to find out that her dad has lost his job, and they are now going to have to move to a poorer neighborhood. This is devastating for Brittany, as it means she's going to lose her popularity as well as the position of captain. When she tells the squad, Winnie makes her agree that she's never to cheer again. Brittany attends a new school and clearly does not fit in. She's the only white kid in her class, and coming from a previously affluent family, she doesn't really understand why this school doesn't have textbooks, let alone computers. After having a brief run-in with Camille, played by Solange Knowles-Smith, she finds out that she, Camille, is the captain of the cheerleading squad at her new school. Though she promises never to cheer again, it doesn't take Brittany long to go out to tryouts for her new school and makes the team. After some humming and heaving, she agrees to join. Most of the film is filled with shenanigans surrounding cheerleading and this big Brianna competition. Brittany also gets really close to one of the boys on her new team, Jesse, played by Gustavo Carr. She doesn't tell him that but she doesn't tell him that she has a boyfriend, and they kiss. Everything seems to be going great until Brittany has to make up a lie to her new team in order to go to the homecoming dance at her old school. Before this, however, Winnie also finds out that Brittany is cheering for her new school and thus labels her a cheer whore. The rest of her old squad are pissed too, not because she is a cheer whore, but because Brittany lied to them. The new team find out that Brittany lied and also kick her off the new team. Additionally, Jessie finds out that Brad is her boyfriend, and so he is pissed too. At homecoming, Brittany confronts everyone about all this crap and also dumps Brad after Winnie announces to the whole school that she and Brad had sex while he was still dating Brittany. It's all very confusing. Fuck me. That Brad had sex with Winnie while he was still dating Brittany. There we go. The next day is the big competition. Brittany apologizes to Camille and the new team, and they forgive her. She also speaks to Jesse about things and apologizes, and he forgives her. They do an insane routine and win the competition, and her old teammates vote Winnie out of the captain position. The end.
The end.
Is this the right movie? Is this the one you watched?
Yes, I did watch this one.
Okay, good. So we're safe.
What is your cliffhanger?
There is one scene that epitomizes this movie in its entirety, and it is this scene where Brittany goes up onto the stage, like, cucks out Brad, cucks out Winnie, and then walks off, and Avril Lavigne starts playing, and that is what this movie is all about, and it's just such a great scene. I mean, when I heard the soundtrack for this movie is exceptional.
Oh my God. It is every song I listened to in high school.
Right? Avril Lavigne, All American Rejects. I'm pretty sure there was probably some Nickelback in there too.
When Dirty Little Secrets started playing, I was like, oh shit, here we go.
It was unbelievable.
Solange is in it, looking incredible.
How good is that? It's brilliant. I mean, it was quite funny. Beautiful. So on the IMDb, because I was looking up trivia for this movie, and there is like nothing. Yeah, one of the trivia points is Camille, played by Solange Knowles-Smith, is Beyonce's sister. That was the trivia.
But it's like, how do you not know who Solange is?
Yeah, it's bonkers, and the worst part about it is 21 out of 46 people found this useful.
Do they also not know who like Kate Middleton is? Like, you don't know royalty? Sorry.
Yeah, those people are watching the wrong movie, and they need to get lives. Seriously. It's outrageous. But apart from the soundtrack, what did you love about this movie?
I mean, what's not to love about a Bring It On movie? It's so silly. Like, I don't appreciate that they show cheerleaders as like really vapid and like say weird shit like you're a cheer whore, and that's pretty consistent throughout all the Bring It On movies. But it's just so silly. It's so fun. Like, it makes cheerleading into a weird cult, which I imagine it is. I think any sport where you spend a lot of time like bumping into each other and like throwing each other around inevitably ends up being a little culty. But I love the routines. I love the music. I love like everybody's beautiful. Everybody looks amazing. Like it's fun. It's silly. And I always love a scene where a girl gets back at her ex-boyfriend and is like, who the fuck are you? And like, then hooks up with a guy who appreciates her for who she is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just delightfully 2000s as well. It's the fact that you've got, this white girl who comes in and just changes this whole sort of African American school with the power of dance. And it is
at least she does it by encouraging them to use like a style of dance that is like familiar to them. She's not like, oh, you guys need to stop crumping.
Yeah.
God, remember when crumping was a thing?
Oh, I loved when crumping was a thing. It was such a thing. Like, I remember the first time I heard about crumping was during an episode of So You Think You Can Dance, and two people got up and crumped, and, like, my mind was just blown. They did it to a Queen of the Stone Age song as
Oh,
well.
wow.
And yeah, like so many mixed emotions and feelings. But yeah, so good, so good. Yeah, crumping, man, angry hip hop dance.
Full of rage and sexual tension if you do it right.
Yeah, damn straight. Hayden Panettiere, as we mentioned up top, cannot act in this. Good lord.
No, but I think they also gave her a rough script to work with.
Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, she had to be like really dumb, but she's really smart. Like
Yeah.
she's fucking fantastic. So yeah, that was a bit of a mess, but and like to be fair, I love the supporting characters in this movie as well.
Yeah.
You know, you've got the slightly bigger African American girl, you've got the Latina girl. They're brilliant throughout this.
Even, Winnie to an extent was just so outrageous. You were like, ugh, what an amazing bad guy. Like, not only is she just like super slutty and like pursuing Brittany's boyfriend, but like
Wow.
racist, and you're just like, oh, cherry on top of that villain cake.
I must say, one of my favorite scenes of the whole thing is when the old squad go to Brittany's new school, and the really dumb cheerleader's like, how are we gonna find her in this massive crowd? And then it just pans to just a stream of African American people, and I'm like, that is so subtly brilliant.
There's always got to be one exceptionally dumb cheerleader.
Yeah, it's I feel really bad for this film and like for cheerleaders because of films like this, because
Yeah.
it makes them look really dumb, like you were
Yeah.
saying.
And they're like, I mean, cheerleading's so hard. They're elite athletes.
I mean, it's not an easy sport. Can you imagine
No.
being tossed up like 6 feet in the air and then like trusting two people so much to catch you?
And then they don't, and then your arm bends in an unnatural angle.
Yeah, and then you have to get up and, well, once it's fixed, do it again.
Yeah.
With those same people who let you
Yeah.
down before.
Yeah.
It is
It's
like you
insane.
said, a cult. Like no rational human being would do that.
No. And like, yeah, I mean, watching cheer, I was like, especially when they're doing like their Hell Week and they're practicing like 3 times a day. And I'm like, easily each practice burns like 1,000 calories, like conservatively. Like,
Yeah.
there is like, what are they eating? There must not be enough food in the fucking world to fuel you through that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's insane. There's that one scene, I can't remember if you remember it, but the ginger guy, he's got someone on his shoulders, and he like the head coach is just talking to them, and he's just got this chick on his shoulders, and he's like suffering, and he's like convulsing, and his face is going red, and she's just on his shoulders, and the head coach is just like, well, yeah, what if we changed this, and what if we did this, and he's just like dying there, and that is cheerleading. Yeah. And these movies do not do that justice whatsoever. They're just like, these girls are really pretty, they practice a little bit, and then they just go out and be popular or
Dance
dumb.
their tiny little butts off.
But yeah, I mean, it was good fun. Camille is a great character. Solange does an incredible job.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just lovely to see Rihanna.
It's always fun to see Rihanna in anything. She's so beautiful, and I love her so much. She was on my workout playlist today while I was at the gym.
What song?
And it helped.
What was the song?
It was Bitch Better Have My Money.
I knew it was.
You cannot listen to that song and not be like, yeah, that bitch better have my money.
Pay me what you owe me.
Yeah, don't act like she forgot.
It's really funny to see the rise of Rihanna just purely because of like where she started with like Ponder Replay to Bitch Better Have My Money. It's like and she got like all that big dick energy like as she grew.
So much big dick energy, the biggest dick energy.
It's beautiful. It is something to see. Yeah. So I mean, is there anything that you disliked about this one?
I mean, just generally, it's not like that funny, and it's not that good. It's it's got a lot of cringe. It's got a lot of like, wow, this is a lot of sexualizing for very young girls. It's actually not appropriate. It's the whole thing where like Brianna's too fat to be a cheerleader, but she's like just a healthy looking athletic girl. Like she doesn't look fat at all.
No, she's just got like a decent sized junk in her trunk. Like
And
she
like
looks
that'll
amazing.
happen if you're like lifting girls and like doing enough jumps. Like if like some people respond to squats better than others.
Exactly. And I like, let's be fair, that booty is bomb.
And
I
that
think a
booty
lot of
is what's
people,
gonna make her a pro cheerleader, guys.
yeah, I feel
Strong
like a lot of
base.
people, yeah, exactly. Good foundation. I feel like people really do appreciate now a decent butt now instead of
Yeah,
just,
I feel
yeah.
like we've gotten to a point where we appreciate that athletes look a certain way and that it is not
Mhm.
wayfish.
It's not healthy. It
And we
doesn't
can
work.
probably thank Serena and Venus Williams a lot for that.
Yeah, definitely.
And Misty Copeland, I guess.
I mean, I don't know who that one is.
She is the prima ballerina of the American Ballet, or she was the first African American prima ballerina of the American Ballet Company. And she kept getting rejected because she's like very muscular and not super
Okay.
wayfish. And they were like, "Oh, your body type like doesn't work for ballet." And she was like, "But I'm really good at ballet." And they were like, "Shit, you're right."
Oh, that's so good. You see,
Yeah.
that's what you need. I think it's also a case of you need coaches and stuff who are willing to
Yeah.
also change the sport and just be
Yeah.
like, actually, yeah. It's the same with like cheer, and I know we keep referencing cheer
It's so
for
good
this
though.
time, but like Jerry is not your typical
Yeah.
looking guy for cheerleading, but he is actually really good and he encourages the team like crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
And he's
yeah.
fit. Like he's got so much stamina. Like he's throwing
Mhm.
girls around. He's like doing all the stuff. Like I think people are learning slowly that fitness doesn't always look skinny. Like fitness
Mhm.
has a lot of shapes and sizes.
Exactly. Some of your like fastest people are actually built like rhinos. It's nuts.
Yeah. And I mean, if
So-
you look at any power lifter, like we were watching the World
Oh,
Strongman competitions, and like
Oh man.
if you saw that dude on the street, you'd be like, oh, what a chunky
He's
guy.
just a fat
But
guy.
like,
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, those dudes are power. And yeah,
God.
you would never know it. Yeah.
Have you watched the Lumberjack Olympics? I think they're called lumber sports or timber sports or some shit like that.
No.
Chad, do yourself a favor. It is the craziest shit I have ever seen in my life.
That sounds outrageous.
It's all these events around like lumberjacking. So like it's like standing on like a big like huge stump of wood and just chopping it between your legs until it like comes apart. And it's like, there's so much power in these swings. Like sometimes it takes a guy like maybe 5 chops to just chop through this like huge chunk of wood. And like then there's another one with like chainsawing a perfect slice off. It is crazy. Like it is maybe the most manly shit I've ever seen in my life.
That sounds delightful and just super fun
Yeah.
and like, yeah, a good way to, like, because I freaking love the strongman competitions. So this
Yeah.
sounds right up my street.
Yeah, it's right there.
That sounds amazing. Yeah.
And you get
I mean,
into it. Like if you're there, like it's kind of a Friday night sport. Like you have a couple
Yeah.
beers or whatever, and you like go on
Oh,
YouTube
yeah.
and watch these, and you're just like at first you're like, okay, let me understand like how this works. And then like 2 minutes in, you're like, okay, no, like his slice could have been better. Like it was not smooth.
Is that how it's judged, on smooth slices?
It's called a cookie, which is like the perfect slice off the stump.
Okay.
And you need to get it like it can't be too angular or something. So it's like controlling the chainsaw perfectly so it slices like straight down and straight up again.
I love dumb American competitions like
No, but
that.
it's like it's international. Like it's Americans and Canadians and like Germans and Norwegians. It's crazy.
That sounds, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm kind of, yeah, I'm about ridiculous manly competitions like that.
Yeah.
that's amazing. Yeah.
It's wild. And they just look like average dudes and they're so strong.
I think this next week is gonna be spent a lot of just watching lumberjack fights like that.
You're
That sounds
welcome.
amazing. Thank you. I do appreciate that. So, Simone, is there a scene that could have saved this for you?
It's perfect as is. It is what it is.
It is what it is. It's a cheerleading movie. It's fun. Yeah. I get you. Although I would say, and I know this isn't the point of it, but there's like a hint. The reason that Solange and her team are entering this competition is to get computers for their school. I would have really liked a little bit more focus on the fact that this like even within Los Angeles, there is such a disparity between the rich and
Yeah.
the poor. And it would have
Yeah.
been really cool to like really focus in on that, because they keep calling her a white girl and stuff. And it would have been really cool if that had come to like a head and she was
Yeah.
like, oh, why do you keep calling me white girl? Why do you think we're so different
Yeah.
and everything? And she's like, well, look what you have and look what we have. We
Yeah.
have nothing. And just like really laid into her or something. I think that would have been very interesting. A good
Yeah.
dynamic, but definitely
Yeah.
not a Bring It On film.
No, it's
No.
not for Bring It On.
So would you watch this again?
Probably. I love watching cheer routines. They're so fun.
Right. It is. It's just.
But
It's
this is not my
aesthetically
favorite Bring It
pleasing.
On.
No, which is your favorite Bring It On?
Probably like the first one is up there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think In It to Win It. Like I think I watched In It to Win It like a couple times, and it's
Right.
just as bad. Like it's really bad.
Uh-huh.
But like it's fun.
I feel like In It to Win It is a lot more sexual than this one. Like this one was
Oh,
sexual,
yeah.
but that one is very sexual.
I think In It to Win It is college. I could be wrong, but I think it's college cheerleaders. Oh, and Fired Up. I know that's not a Bring It On movie, but Fired Up is cuck
Fired
funny.
Up is perfect, and I wish it had gotten a worse score so that we could just have an excuse to watch it, because that shit is so good.
Yeah,
Like it is a brilliant movie. Those two lead actors are so funny.
so funny. So good.
Such a good film. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, it's fun. I would watch it again. It's a good one. Like if you're doing like the full, like do a marathon, like a Bring It On marathon, you would just have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You know, it's easy watching, and you love cheerleading movies because it's really attractive people doing really fun and beautiful stunts.
And saying bitchy stupid shit. Like
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Exactly. Also found out that a lot of the moves in their routines would be illegal in high school competitions.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so
They
so
were
they're-
dangerous.
Yeah, and I'm glad there are regulations which say you can't do like a two-person pyramid in high school. Thank God for that.
Yeah, I think like when you're in high school, like your bones just are not developed enough to be doing that shit.
Definitely not. Definitely not. And you do stupid shit like forget to pick someone up or like,
Yeah.
you know,
I know
catch
I
them.
would. That's why like I could never be a cheerleader.
Well, that was going to be my next question. Did you ever do any cheering at school?
No, I went to like a really small school, and then I went to like an all-girls school, and like, in South Africa, like cheer isn't really. I think we have one cheerleading team, like our national cheerleading squad. But
Right.
it's usually more like rhythmic and like dance based. It's not like as
Okay. As
athletic. But
pyramid-y and yeah.
no, I'm it's probably not for me. I'm very clumsy. Like I shouldn't even be doing martial arts, Chad.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a look. At least you know your own limitations. But yeah, I think you would have made a good cheerleader. You're quite lengthy, and I think you've got good stamina.
I'm pretty athletic. Like
Yeah, you've got good
got good
stamina.
stamina.
Yeah.
yeah. It's
Wouldn't call it a
I'm
missed
too old now
opportunity.
to ever know.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a missed opportunity at all.
No.
So yeah.
I played volleyball. It was fun.
Yeah, you did it a sport. That's all
Yeah.
that matters. Yeah. So thank you, Simone. This week has been amazingly
So
fun.
fun.
So much fun. So what are we doing next week? Do you have any ideas?
I feel like I did, and I just can't. What have we not done in a while? I feel like we haven't done like action movies in a while.
Well, I had a thought, which was 80s movies.
Oh shit.
So I was having a look. So I've got here Patrick Swayze Roadhouse, 1989, 37%.
That's supposed to be like a cult classic, isn't it?
I know, exactly. It got 66 audience and 37 Rotten Tomatoes, so
Okay.
it could be interesting to watch. And then Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, which is a terrible film, and it doesn't show me a date.
Huh.
Weird.
Okay, let me see. Worst 80s films.
Because I was looking for things that like have a recognizable 78. That's probably why. Okay. But yeah.
God. Worst movies of the 1980s. Here we go. 10 popular 80s movies that are actually terrible. That would probably be a good.
Yeah.
Should we just do a bunch on how Star Wars is actually terrible and lose half our fan base?
I mean,
Oh God, we could do Look Who's Talking.
oh God, I hated that movie. It was, well, no, I loved it, but I reckon it's probably terrible, right?
1989.
It's in the year, let me check the Rotten Tomato. Just number one, right? Look Who's Talking.
Yeah. Oh, and Mannequin. God, there are so many bad movies.
The 80s was a bad time.
Oh my God.
It
Look,
should have
as
never
though we
happened.
don't have bad movies now, but like.
That's true. Look Who's Talking got 57%.
Oh, fuck off, really?
Yeah, which is really weird.
Okay. Someone's trying to say Police Academy was bad. Like, okay, I'm sorry you hate Joy.
Yeah, don't bring your negativity here, you douche.
Uh-uh.
Cocktail. How dare you?
Never saw that.
Douche, how do you feel about Talking Robots? Because we could do Short Circuit.
I have no idea what that even is.
I think it's like a robot that they spill beer on and it starts to talk.
Okay, let's also remember that we actually need to find these online.
I got 58 anyway.
Maybe let's not do 80s movies. Like, I am struggling. What if we did, like, bad zombie movies?
Yeah, we could do bad zombies. I like bad
I mean, that's
zombies.
so easy and it's so fun.
Okay, let's have a look.
Top 10 worst zombie movies. I mean, the last one we did was, like, Return of the Living Dead Part 5.
Yeah.
Ah, Zombie Strippers is on the fucking list.
Hell yeah, it is. Of course it is.
Oh. The evil, obviously. There's one called Nazis at the Center of the Earth.
Oh, that makes me so mad.
God.
There's one called Zombies, which I assume is zoo animals.
Here's top 100 worst zombie films of all time.
Oh, we could do Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
We've done that one already.
Oh, have we? Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We did. Of course we did.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, should we do Rave to the Grave? We've wanted to do Rave to the Grave for so long.
Oh my God. You know what? Let's do Rave to the fucking grave.
I also want to check something out here quickly.
The worst one, like the top rated worst one, is just called House of the Dead. Oh, it's an Uwe Ball movie.
I'm looking up if how Zombies 2 did. If it's out yet, Zombies.
Is it out? Yeah. Oh, I remember the Zombie Diaries.
No, Zombies 2 isn't out yet. So we're gonna do Rave to the Grave.
Wait, hang on, let me check the Zombie Diaries. Because I remember watching it in 2011, and I thought it was, like, really cool, and that I was really cool for watching it, but it could have been garbage. Yeah, it doesn't even have a scar on Rotten Tomatoes, and it got an audience score of 21%.
Which one's this?
The Zombie Diaries.
Zombie Diaries.
So should we
wanna
do
look at
Rave
this
to the
thing.
Grave and Zombie Diaries?
Yes. Why not? That sounds awful.
Great. Awesome.
Okay, I'll
Okay, yeah,
call
let's
it
finish
again.
recording this episode, and then I'll chat to you.
Okay. All right, here we go. So Simone, what are we doing next week?
I think, you know, it's been so not serious the last couple weeks, Chad, that now we just have to, like, really put our heads down, get into serious movies again, and do zombie movies.
Yeah,
The
absolutely. We've
scariest
really done.
of horror movies.
we've let down the team, if we're honest, and I feel like people are starting to get really irritated with us in the fact that we're not doing serious enough movies. I promise you guys, we're gonna buckle down now, and we're really gonna hit something hard. So zombie movies. Yeah, which two are we doing?
We're gonna do the movie no one's ever heard of, Zombie Diaries from 2011. And then we are going to do, those of you who listen to our old podcast will remember, we did Necropolis, like Return of the Living Dead 5 Necropolis. And it has a sequel, you guys, called Return of the Living Dead Rave to the Grave. And that's the one we're doing.
I mean, there's so many thoughts going through my mind right now about Rave to the Grave, and I'm so unbelievably ready to watch this film. It's like I had so many questions at the end of Acropolis. Like, I'm so ready for this next one. I hope they all get answered. I really do.
I hope they wrap up all those plot points.
Yeah, tie it in a neat little bun. Oh, I'm so very ready. Excellent. Good. Exciting times. So, Simone, how are you? How was your week? Tell me the optimistic thing.
I am good. My optimistic thing for the week is as you know, Chad, I have quite a lot of imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Because I'm a millennial. And I'm like high up in my company. And like I keep thinking like at any moment, like, oh, they're gonna realize that like I don't do anything here and they're gonna fire me. And this week my boss turns to me and he's like, do you still like working here? And like obviously I'm like a deer in headlights. I was like, do I not act like it? And he's like, no, like please just tell us if you're unhappy. Like please like let us know if you get to a point where you don't want to work here anymore. Like please don't blindside us. I was like, thank you.
That's so sweet. Oh, look at you.
Yeah.
You've made yourself indispensable. Well done.
Yes, I do. I sometimes just need to remember that I do actually do a lot, and like I like my job and I'm good at my job.
Yeah.
And it hurts saying that, but it's true.
You're a damn hard worker, and you don't have imposter syndrome. You're a champion. You're a bastion of hard work.
So anyway, that was just a nice little moment. Like I'm very lucky to have the bosses I have. Everybody's very nice. And I like my job.
That's amazing. I'm so proud of you.
I'm not getting fired this week.
Hey, you survived another week. It's like Project Runway. Look at you go.
RuPaul's Drag Race.
Or RuPaul's Drag Race. That's so nice. Oh, well done, Simone. Snaps to you.
Thanks. What's your optimistic thing?
A lot less amazing than yours, that's for sure. Samantha took me to a chips place last night. So we went to see a show, and then we went out for food afterwards, and she showed me this really nice chip shop. And they do like 101 different sauces, and it was like really cheap. Yeah, it was so good, but like loads and loads of chips, like a big thing of chips.
What was on your chips?
Curry and mayonnaise. It was like amazing, and it was vegan, and just life changing. So good. Chips.
I fucking love chips. Like I'm not a sweet tooth, as you know. Like I think neither of us really are like huge sweet tooths, but like put some fucking chips in front of me, and I will not stop.
I will devour them. So yeah, it was the perfect way to end the evening, and it was delicious.
Amazing.
And
were you like a little tipsy?
And no, we hadn't drunk anything.
But
best. It is when you like, there is nothing better like than coming home or after like a night of drinking, just like either stopping at a chip place or having like leftover Chinese food in your fridge, and you just get home and you become like a tiny little trash panda and just shove it in your mouth.
Your hands are like covered in mayonnaise.
Yeah. Like shoving it in your face.
I think once I got home drunk and I decided to make oven chips like in the middle of the night. This is when I still lived with roommates, so they heard me turning on the oven and like banging the pans around. And I was so impatient because, like, you're drunk, so I was sitting there in front of the oven, like, waiting.
That's amazing.
And I probably ate them, like, half fucking frozen.
You're a darling angel. That's so good. That is
so
absolutely brilliant. I do remember I came home I was staying at someone else's house, and we got home drunk the one night, and we just, like, went into their fridge because they had Chinese leftovers, and we started just, like, piling it into our mouths, and she was like, oh, wait, is this my one? or is this my sister's one? Because she was a vegetarian, but her sister wasn't. So like she could have just been like shoving the one with chicken in her face, and we weren't 100% sure. And she was just like, "But this is too good to not eat," and she just kept eating it. And I was like, "That is being drunk."
You gotta
At a
feel the
high
guilt
level.
tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you very much for listening.
Yes.
We really appreciate your time. We really appreciate you guys and all the love that you give us. And why not share that love? You know, it was just Valentine's Day, and you've got an extra day this year because it's a leap year. So why not take that extra day and spend an hour of it just telling people about the podcast, sharing it with the loved ones? Everyone loves bad movies. So why not tell them about our podcast? They're going to love us just as much as we love you guys. And while you're there doing all the loves and shares, why not leave us a comment? Why not leave us a rating? It really, really does help us. And, you know, come and hang out with us. Tell us all the things. Tell us your hopes, your fears, your dreams, all your life ambitions. And where can they do that, Simone?
They can talk to us on Facebook or Instagram at Fresh Tomatoes Podcast, on Twitter at Fresh Tomatoes MP. They can email us at freshtomatoespodcast@gmail.com. They can come watch our unedited recording videos on YouTube. They can hang out with us on the Robots Radio Discord channel.
Yes, all those things. And guys, as we say at the end of every episode, we love you and there's nothing you can do about it.
We love you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Go
Bye.
Wildcats!
Go Wildcats.